Welcome back to another episode of the American Voices, where we want to hear what your decision will be this year voting for the president in this election in 2024. I am your host, Nikki Serenity, and I do have a brand new caller on the line. Caller, would you like to tell us your name and where you're calling from?
James Driver. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. Oh, man, that's the capital. You are the first caller
Yeah.
from the capital. I'm excited about this call today. So,
Okay.
the infamous question of today is: will you be voting? If you are voting, who are you voting for and why? And if you are not voting, why are you not voting?
I yeah, planning on the vote for Kamala Harris because the fact is, uh, I think she's something that we're looking for in this country, something different. We had enough of Trump for the last, uh, you know, 4 years. We don't want to. We want to go forward, not backward. And this administrator has done its best to try to um, uphold democracy. Of course, there's been a lot of pushback as far as that from the Congress and things like that. And I feel as though that I think it's time for a change. It's time for a change for the demographic of the country is rapidly changing. We have to kind of change towards the times. That we move forward, we don't want to go back.
Okay. And you know what? That's your decision. I do have a question, if you don't mind, for anybody that's actually voting for Kamala, because she's a brand new, candidate to to this year's election. And I just want to know, what do you think, or what is your perception of what you believe that she will bring forward in the next 4 years?
I think she has the youth and the vigor, um, and and she has the generational concept of change that is definitely needed in this country. If we have, if Trump gets elected for another 4 years, I think it's going to pose a danger to our democracy in so many ways, particularly with Project 2025. It's really a threat to our democracy in so many ways. And by choosing her, I think it would kind of minimize that threat.
Okay, now I do want to say that I'm pretty sure that you're up to date on how the immigration stuff has been going haywire. So I'm not going to talk on that because I feel like there's enough information around to go for that. But I do want to ask you: do you understand that with her, there's she's not trying to end the current war that we're in at this moment, which at any time could result in a draft where you yourself, because men are gonna go first, could be drafted.
Well, let's hope we don't get to that. And plus, I'm over the age for that anyway. For one, for that, let's hope we don't get that to that point like what's going to Vietnam War. And, for that involvement, we hope we don't get to that point.
It's definitely a possibility, more so than not, if she remains in office, because we are still in the war and it's very close to a draft. Of course, they're going to start with the youngest men, um, to the eldest. And I mean, I would think that you want to save your gender. Um, so I speak more in the sense of like wanting to have more policies to protect our military, our elderly, as you were just mentioning, but definitely put some more policies around them, because right now they're being taxed on their social security where they're not supposed to be, because when they were working 55 years ago, it was in their interest that by the time they reached retirement, they wasn't told 55 years ago that they would be paying taxes on their social security. I don't think that's fair. I'm just looking at that
Right.
from my own aspect of life. Like, I wouldn't want to be working my entire life to find out on the tail end of my rainbow that there's no pot of gold there, that they're still digging their hands in what I've worked my whole life for. So I would like to see some more policies in place for that. I do not want to see babies killed in their third trimester. I know that a lot of men like to revert back to the I don't think a man should have a say so in what women do with their reproductive system, but I hear nothing but men saying that. How do men know that women don't agree with Trump policies as it relates to our reproductive organs? And at the same time, why is there no policies for men? Why is there so many policies for women and their protection? I think men need to be protected as well. No?
And you know, it's kind of a double standard to that, because it's being a male dominant society, they imposing their views on women, because women are the one that have to carry the baby for 9 months, and they go through so much trauma in that process. And then not to mention the Supreme Court decision basically taking that right away. You know, we know about the importance of the sanctity of life, and I get that. However, a person must choose between them and God to choose in that situation. And not to mention, the conservative right always argue about the pro life, but if you go to try to promote that, why not improve living conditions where people can have live live in the pursuit of happiness that's stated in the Constitution. They talk about one thing. It's very hypocritical there for pro-left, but yet they for the death penalty. And if they want promote pro-life, why not make provision, improve living conditions where that can be possible?
I agree with that. I don't think that that's going to be under the Kamala administration and the Kamala Waltz administration. Kamala and Waltz wants to put tampons in boys' bathrooms. And I'm talking about young boys. I'm not talking about, maybe those that have already made their minds up and have become an avid adult to be able to make those decisions. You know what I mean? But we're talking about children being influenced into a culture that when I don't see heterosexual education being taught in school. Why is homosexuality being taught so avidly in school? Or even so, be fair. If you're gonna teach one, why are you not teaching both? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
go
ahead.
And it calls that's where the area I have reservations about right there. That's what my reservations come with that. Because God created man and a man, and woman, and I have to reservate about this transgender thing. So it's really kind of, to me, in my opinion, more perverted. So I think both sides have the extreme level. So you have to, when it comes to that, you have to kind of go full play. You have to set boundaries of when it comes to your beliefs and things like that.
Well, let me ask you: have you ever heard of becoming a blank voter?
I never gave that much thought.
Well, that's pretty much what I'm advocating for. Even though everybody has, you have that right to choose who you want to vote for. I say vote regardless of, who you decide to vote for. Voting is important overall. But I want to start the message of how you can actually start changing laws when it comes to voting in your area, because local voting is what we have the power of changing. We could change the laws in our areas. We just have to know the young lawyers that are out there trying to make changes to become, get in Congress for this particular judge, or to make these particular changes. It's like there was a story about a young man who was just executed for something that evidence came back and said that he wasn't guilty of, and he was still executed after so many people had.
Yet they was insisting on carrying it out in spite of the evidence.
But yet we still have Sean Grayson, who's still sitting in the jail cell, who executed our sister Sonia Massey, who I believe should be executed. So, the only way that these type of things can either prevent from happening or to allow it to happen to the people who actually deserve it is to actually know how to change the laws in your particular area. Now, who you vote for in Washington is not going to be the same people that I vote for in my state where I live at. And that's another thing that I want to, also, because I think everybody think that they're voting for the same people. And, that's also something that has to be understood, like how we can connect to each other in order to pass laws where it makes sense in all areas. You know what I mean? Because what makes sense in one state is not going to make sense in every state. Just like in Texas, you have that carry, that you could carry. You don't know who's going to pull out at any time. And then you have states like New York who you can't even get a permit unless you are a police officer or something. Or you have to go through like these extreme measures to get your concealed weapon. So you have to figure out what in your area are these people that are, that believe in the same laws that you believe in, that you can get into Congress. And the only way to know that is to blink vote, where you're not voting for either side. Because one thing that kind of upsets me a little bit is when people say, oh, I'm just voting for the lesser evil, where that's not even really the case. You're not voting for the lesser evil. You're voting for what you think makes more sense to you. That's just the reality of the situation. So if it doesn't make sense to you, why are you voting for it? You know what I'm saying? You can vote for something where you're not voting for either candidate, but you're voting for your areas and the things that you would like to change. And, it could be the healthcare system. It could be the school system. It could be, the immigration. Well, for whatever, like there's a state of emergency right now as it relates to the immigration laws. You know what I'm saying? And the things that they're given to immigrants, that illegal immigrants, that they're not even given to citizens. And Kamala's not trying to change that. She's trying to implement these things.
And that's where too bad you don't have the option of independent thinking, because, like I said before, both sides can have extreme on both sides and everything. So it's like from one extreme to the next extreme, And you do have a point. It seems like immigrants are getting more benefits than ordinary Americans, And I think, of course, there's stuff that's humanitarian, but you have to draw a line. A line has to be drawn in these type of scenarios.
I agree. I think everyone wants the same thing. They just, don't know, which policy is going to, and I always want to say, you got to think about policies in the form of the next 10 years, not the last 10 years. I think people are too, comfortable with living in the past that they don't know how to think forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the children that have to live with our decision. Whatever it is that we're voting for today is not going to go into effect until probably most of the children are either halfway out of high school or, young adults. And, when you was 20 years old, you didn't understand voting, not to the extent that you did in your 30s and your 40s or whatever, over 10-year decades. So, that's the point of my channel, to try to, bridge the gaps between all parties, because I feel like each party is essential. I think having a bipartisan election is the best way to be, so that everybody's voice is heard and it's not so much one way than the other. I do not want to see babies being aborted in the third trimester as a woman. And Kamala doesn't have children, so I'm pretty sure she can't relate to that. And I think people really need to self-educate themselves more on what a baby looks like in each stage of their life in the stomach. That's still a life. Even though it's inside the stomach, it doesn't make it less valuable outside the stomach. And immigrants will overpopulate you. You want to keep aborting yourself willingly and without any clause. Eventually, all these illegal immigrants, they're going to overpopulate you and probably kill every single last one of every citizen off of this planet.
It seems like they're not doing abortions as much, because we know in this country, under the 14th Amendment, once you're born in this country, you are a citizen. So they have babies coming over here, carrying these babies and stuff. Once they're born, they're American citizens automatically,
Yeah, they need to get rid of that law too, because I don't think that that's fair. Because theoretically speaking, Kamala is an illegal immigrant. And the fact that you would just give her your resources, and she's only been here for 59 years of history, and I'm pretty sure you have ancestors that have been here longer than she has. I feel like that's a smack in the face to your ancestors. I'm not saying that Trump is perfect. I'm not saying that, he's going to come and save the world. but at least I could say he's a citizen of this land, and that he cares about the people. There was just a hurricane, and most of the people don't even understand how bad that hurricane really affected a lot of people's homes and houses.
Yeah, it was almost like it's similar to another Katrina, the way
yes, or Hurricane Sandy. Or Hurricane Sandy, it's pretty much the same thing, because a lot of people lost their homes. The fact that it's not on the news is very heart-wrenching. It's very heart-wrenching. And if you haven't donated to that cause, you definitely should. It doesn't matter what you can. People, when they lose everything, it's an unfortunate situation. You don't know when nature is going to call. So, it's always nice to be able to give back. So I always want to encourage people to do that as well. So yeah, I did donate to the Red Cross. Red Cross is official. If you would really like to donate to the cause.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything else that you would like to say? Tell the people where to find you. Go ahead and promote yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Pretty much, and basically, and I appreciate this platform being open and everything, so people can be able to express their views and their opinions.
Absolutely. And let your friends and your family know as well, just in case they feel like they don't have a voice. They can definitely come and be heard here without any criticism. There's no judgment. Even, I believe in agreeing to disagree and still being adults and being able to move forward, and knowing that we both want the best for this nation and all of the working people, not just the businesses and not just the working people, all the Americans, the businesses and the workers. We all matter. So I think that needs to be a point of the discussion more. So, and the children definitely on the forefront. So thank you for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and place you back in the queue.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate this time and open up the platform.
You're more than welcome. Thank you. And there you have it. Another episode completed. If you like the video, please hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm. It helps get the video in front of eyes that wouldn't otherwise see it. So that's always appreciated. If you would like to be on the panel, all you have to do is either check out the community tab to find out how to contact the page to put your request in. And or you can comment on one of the videos and let me know that you're interested on how to get on the panel. And I want to appreciate everybody for listening. And I hope you have a good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it was when you watched this. Peace.